You can take a swing at my ego. You can make a run for my crown. Even with an army of people, you ain't gonna take us down.
Hey guys, Fred here. Welcome to the WrestleMania 31 predictions. I can't believe it's been just under a year since I went on a plane to New Orleans and saw WrestleMania 30 live in person. It's hard to believe, and honestly it shows just how much time flies with WrestleMania 31 just on the horizon for us. Now, I will say this like I think everyone else will who is monitoring this event. The build hasn't been that great. Raw has been very hard to watch through, and people have been proclaiming this is the worst build to a WrestleMania that they have ever seen. Sure, I would agree with you in some cases, but I look at WrestleMania and its card and think, looks like a very good show. It could deliver, and I hope to God it does, because after last year, I really want to see WWE continue to have their showpiece event look like it, and based on these matches, it should be. Now, of course, some people are thinking, awful build will mean an awful WrestleMania, because obviously, build, what is it good for? Psychology. And if bad psychology happens, the crowd don't get invested. The quality of the match then suffers, and we all suffer watching the product. But the thing is, I hope to God we see some good stuff here. Because, of course, the build may be rubbish, but the matches may deliver. That's all I'm hoping for, and I hope we get it in the end. Now, looking at the pre-show, simple this, I'm not even going to bother with it. I don't review the pre-shows in my reviews, so why the hell should I predict them? Kind of makes sense, right? Anyway, let's get straight on into the matches. We're going to start off with the match that I believe will open the show, the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, as the incumbent Bad News Barrett takes on R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, and Daniel Bryan in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship where there's only one winner and spots aplenty. Obviously this is going to start the show because the high-octane matches will always get the crowd off their feet. It's how I feel and it's how a lot of other people feel as well. Now, I know some of you are going to complain, saying, oh, Daniel Bryan was in the main event, and now he's in the opener. He's just like Chris Benoit. WWE hate him. He was in the opener last year. So I have no reason to complain there, because it's, again, in a what should be a good quality match. Now, looking at these multi-man ladder matches as I do, I have to look at who's in the match and the probability of winning. Now, I understand that R-Truth has been put in here because of his charity work that WWE are rewarding him for, but he isn't going to win this. Even though he's been a figurehead in this entire rivalry, passing the Intercontinental title around like hot potato, I don't think he's going to win it. It won't elevate him much, and honestly, WWE needs to focus on younger talent, so R-Truth won't do it here. You then look at Luke Harper, who I think, while having the potential to win the title for a second time, it wouldn't do him much good. I think putting him in a much more harder aggressive feud for, say, the US title once Ryback gets a hold of it at some point in the future, or whoever else gets that damn title after, say, Rusev or Cena, I want to see where it goes with that. So, Luke, I'm afraid you're not going to win this one. Then I look at Stardust, thinking I wished I could have seen Goldust versus Stardust on the card, but they blew my enthusiasm for that at Fastlane. And while I would love to see Cody, aka Stardust, win the IC title again, I don't think it's going to be doing him much good either. He should be taking himself into the upper echelons, and if he doesn't, well, what the hell are you doing? I mean, this Stardust character could get the most weirdest it could be, and we still want to see him rise with it. If he doesn't, then that's a waste of talent. I then look at Dolph Ziggler going, okay, it'll be great to see him win, but he's recently held the damn title, and honestly, he's in there to be a spot monkey selling for everybody, so you can't go wrong with saying it. Then you have Bad News Barrett, the incumbent champion. He's had a decent reign, hasn't held the title in his hands for the majority of it, but the best thing I can say is at least he's in here on a WrestleMania card with that title, and he's actually on WrestleMania properly for the first time in quite a few years, which is great for everyone concerned, so hopefully he can deliver in this match, but I don't think he's going to walk out with the belt. Just for my sake, it'll also build a good few rematches down the road. Then you're left with two. Dean Ambrose, and of course, Daniel Bryan. Now, I was expecting Dean Ambrose versus Wade Barrett to be on the card in some kind of stipulation match. So you look at Dean and you think, yeah, he's been having the build around this match, surround him, it generated and started with him, and his fan reactions mean he deserves the belt. I mean, I'm amazed he didn't win it at Fastlane, but then again, we wouldn't have this match if he did. But then you look at Daniel Bryan. Everybody is going to go mental because he's in the match. And of course, they don't want to risk him injuring himself too much, so maybe they'll put him in some big spots with him, 1 or 2 maybe, and see where it goes from there. I don't think Daniel's going to win it though, and I know some people are saying, oh, he's in the match, therefore he must win, is the booking mentality that WWE needs. That's not the case for me, personally. I would go for Dean. Mostly because it makes sense, the build makes sense, everything surrounding this rivalry between him and Barrett makes sense, and honestly, we need to put Dean on the roller coaster rocket ship to the top, and the best way to do it is by giving him the Intercontinental Championship. He can have a few great feuds along the way, and by the time the summer comes around, he'll be back into a major playing position. That's just my opinion, but then again, everyone else can have the same. I'm going to go for Dean Ambrose, even though I would love Daniel to win as well. It wouldn't help anybody. I mean, I would love to see Daniel Bryan win the title and then do the exact same thing I've mentioned Dean to do, work his way back up to a main event position, and, you know, I'm just thinking about it, if the winner of this match comes out, they won't win the Money in the Bank later in the year, based on how my idea works. But I look at this and think, Dean Ambrose is the favourite, he's obviously looking like to win it, and even if Daniel Bryan's in it, he's not guaranteed victory just because he's in the match. Look at what happened at Fastlane, everybody. Just saying. Next up, well, we have the Divas Tag Team match with AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. Now, I'm thinking to myself, if the rumours are true where the Bellas are not going to renew their contracts, then we're likely to have a winner in the opposition. That's just how it's meant to be, but of course one of them is holding the Divas Championship, meaning, yeah, there is a likelihood they're probably going to give it up on the night after WrestleMania like AJ did last year to Paige. Or maybe something else happens. I don't really know how they're going to factor that in. But if the rumours are true that the Bellas will be leaving not too long after WrestleMania, then it makes fair sense to do as everyone says, you leave on your back. That's how it always is. That's how it always will be. And if that is the case, then I have no problem seeing Paige and AJ win. Not to mention the Bella Twins have been winning pretty much everything they've put their hand in since, I'd say, Survivor Series, when they won the Divas Championship and reunited together. They've pretty much won everything, so they need a loss at some point. It makes perfect sense to happen at the biggest show of the year, and not to mention, it would get the crowd on their feet as you would expect. So, all's well and good, right? Yay! Next up, we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, why is this happening for the second year running? This is stupid. Should have been a one-off thing for the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania. They said it was going to be an annual thing every year. I remember hearing them say it, so I don't know how everyone else forgot about it. Anyway, I could do what I did for the Intercontinental title ladder match and go through each individual entry, but there's no point, because there are only 2 people who are likely to win this. Curtis Axel, mostly because it's a battle royal and him winning it would be a great thing to proclaim, but also there's Damien Mizdow. When I look at this match, this is the one with the most story. And honestly, okay, Big Show and Kane and Mark Henry are in this match, but of course, it's a battle royal. Giants don't win battle royals. It's just what we've come to expect from pro wrestling. But the thing is, you look at this match, you say to yourself, there is a storyline here with Miz and Mizdow being the final 2. You look at that and you say to yourself, I want to see the big pop with Mizdow throwing Miz over the top rope and getting the victory, while Miz looks on gutted, dejected, and utterly furious. We all want to see it, and if WWE don't do that, it'll be a complete waste. I mean, they put them in the match and didn't give them a single little match on the card for themselves, but what else can we do? I just want to see Mizdow win the match. The pop will be brilliant, and it'll be another WrestleMania memory for us. And not to mention, Mizdow gets his ticket to rise up the card a little bit. Hopefully it'll be more than what his Money in the Bank ended up getting him. But this is what I'm looking forward to. From this point on, if Mizdow wins and keeps his mentality and his fan reaction on board, he should be good for the future. Mizdow for the win. Next, we have Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Now, this storyline's been building for months, with Orton out due to a curb stomp through bricks. He now wants to beat the crap out of Seth. And you know what? We all want to see that. It's been building up for Randy Orton to come in and beat the ever-loving crap out of him. And if the beatings he's had on recent editions of Raw have been any indication, it should be easy to predict this match. Randy Orton gets the win. Now, does that mean the feud ends here? Oh, no. It's probably going to go into the spring, and we're going to have a few more matches down the road. But to make this have the most satisfactory conclusion at Mania, we need to have Randy Orton win. That's just how it is. We cannot deny that. Not to mention, if Rollins loses and cashes in later, that therefore makes him the ultimate winner. So, winning against Orton here would do nothing apart from squash the idea that inevitably he's not going to cash in at the end of the night. And people have been predicting it for months that Rollins will cash in, and because he'll have to lose early on in the evening to balance everything out. I think that makes sense, and honestly, it will probably happen. And honestly, I understand that we've had, in my predictions so far, 3 face wins in a row. I understand that, and you need to have a heel win somewhere breaking this up. But listen, I'm going to point this out right now. The heel victories later in the night that I'm predicting are going to be huge. So they will offset the amount of face wins we get on this show. I understand that I've predicted this, and inevitably it might bite me in the ass to see Seth Rollins win this one by hook or by crook, but Orton winning makes more sense than anything. Next, we have Alexander Rusev versus John Cena for the United States Championship. It's the undefeated against the undefeatable at WrestleMania. And you see, I know what everybody is thinking after last year. With Bray Wyatt's loss to John Cena, everybody is saying, oh, it's obvious. It's obvious. The big golden boy, John Cena, cannot lose at WrestleMania. It'll upset way too many people. Well, I've looked at this feud from the moment this thing started, and I looked after Fastlane, thinking to myself, this looks like Cena is being built to look really strong. So when Rusev wins, it'll be a shock. You understand where I'm going here? Do you remember what happened last year at WrestleMania? Cena was booked weak, and inevitably he rose up to fight against Bray Wyatt. You see the difference there? Cena is being made to look angry, pissed off, aggressive, strong, making Rusev look weak. And inevitably, that to me speaks volumes. That Rusev is going to come out victor. Now, I understand John Cena holding the US title again will give some prominence to the title, and even though WWE Creative have apparently said it's a step in the wrong direction, I really don't have a problem with it. Really don't. But I look at this match and think to myself, this is the right person to win against John Cena. Rusev is a character who the fans legitimately hate because it's America versus the world. Typical storyline there. And him beating Cena, at least in this case I hope, fairly, would be fantastic. And I've already mentioned just now, actually, that we've had a lot of face wins in my predictions. Imagine it. Everyone who we like wins, and then we get Rusev beating everyone who they hate, John Cena. We get a Dream Mania. Sure, Daniel Bryan doesn't win, but that doesn't matter. John Cena would lose at WrestleMania. People would love it. And not to mention, it would be the biggest feather in Rusev's cap. I mean, Rusev is being booked far too strongly over the last year to have it all go down to Cena. You know, I keep thinking to myself, maybe Rusev is the guy who topples Roman Reigns and wins the damn championship from him later down the line, and maybe he is still holding that title. I see so much potential in an undefeated Rusev that every time I look at the possibility of him losing to Cena, it makes me think his momentum may be lost and he may regain it quickly. I have no idea, but it won't make sense. To have Cena lose after being thrown out of the main event by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, it would make sense to confound his misery and have him lose on the biggest stage of them all for the first time since 2008. And that was in a multi-man match, as I've already mentioned. But this is the thing. Will John Cena lose? WWE doesn't like him losing. They don't want the kids to be upset. But I don't want to have what happened last year at WrestleMania happen again, where John Cena wins and all of the kids around me get up and leave. You paid to enter WrestleMania. You begged your parents to go to WrestleMania. Stay for the whole damn show. If you're too dejected to watch the rest of the show because John Cena loses, big whoop. Just make your parents stay because it's worth it. WrestleMania is worth all the money you pay, and you might as well stay with it, right? So yeah, Rusev for the win. John Cena's going to lose, in my opinion. I hope I'm not wrong on that. Now for the match that I am most looking forward to. The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. And I understand a lot of you are pissed, still, from what happened last year, saying, oh, Wyatt should have been the one to end the streak, not Brock Lesnar. Well, I'm really happy that Lesnar beat the streak, because Wyatt versus Taker for the streak would have been the most predictable match ever. Not to mention, having the unpredictable spanner thrown in the works was good for us, because it also sets this match up. And there's a good reason for it. This match between Taker and Wyatt isn't focusing on the streak. It's focusing on Wyatt's ability as a gimmick, as a performer, and as an overall entertainer in what he does. And not to mention, it makes Taker weak. Him losing to Brock Lesnar is probably the best thing that could have happened to Bray Wyatt, because now Wyatt looks incredibly strong, Taker looks weak, and it's all building around whether The Undertaker can still wrestle well. And knowing the psychology of how that's being played in, it should be fantastic. I look at this match and sure, I only see one winner, and that is Bray Wyatt. But I look at this match and think, okay, if Wyatt's going to win, we can have that. But how is it going to happen? This match is based solely on how Taker is booked in the match. He will have to gradually get stronger as the course of the match goes on. Near falls all over the place. Multiple highlights of Wyatt's character overpowering Taker psychologically. All of this stuff. It needs to be done perfectly for it to all tie together in a nice package. You know? And sure, we have a predictable winner, but I, at this point, don't care. We've had so many predictable matches where Taker comes out winner because it is what happens. It's good to finally see that this is on the opposite side for once. Not just that, but think about it. Bray Wyatt is now involved in 2 WrestleManias against 2 mainstays of WrestleMania, Undertaker and John Cena. Who else would have gotten that? It's fantastic, is it not? But looking at it this way, Bray Wyatt's going to win no matter what happens because he needs the victory to become the next dead man, the next gimmick, which is overriding everything and will be always ready to play a trick and be part of major storylines. And if he doesn't have that, then all this ability to rebuild his momentum from what happened after losing to John Cena last year would be a waste. And I'm sure a lot of you who would say, oh, Taker needs to win to make this make sense. He doesn't. He doesn't. Undertaker has to lose this match because it makes more sense than anything. Now, Sting versus Triple H. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, this is easy and predictable. But I often look at this way. Triple H hasn't won on pay-per-view in 2 years. The last time he won was against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 29. That was 2 years ago, and he hasn't won as a manager or as a wrestler since. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe he needs momentum in his way. Maybe he needs to win a match to get some momentum back. Now, I would say that would be the case if he wasn't facing who he's up against here. If he's up against Sting, he has no chance. Because Sting winning makes sense. Sting winning will be great to build to whatever the hell he has next. Because losing on your debut in the WWE is the same equivalent as just saying, oh, this guy's a jobber, move on. And I know some people are saying, oh, he's the last person in WCW. Of course, Triple H went through every WCW alumni, so he's going to have to go through this one too. No. Sting is too big to lose to Triple H. I know some of you are probably thinking, really? A wrestler too big to lose to Triple H? This is one of those. This is one of those. I'm just pointing out, I know Ric Flair lost to him, but again, that was in storyline, it made sense. In the case of this match, it's obvious who's going to win. What I'm looking forward to is how they get there. Interference? Possibly. Random underhanded tactics? Maybe. Clean finish? Lo and behold. But looking at this match, it's easy to predict. But what I'm hoping for is we get something good out of it in the end. Who does Sting face next? Who does Triple H go after next? What inevitably happens at the end of the day? And I'm hoping WrestleMania 32 is where Triple H gets his victory. Because I'm hoping that's the match where he wins company from Vince. That's all I'm hoping for. I'm still holding out for that. And hopefully it'll be next year at the biggest WrestleMania ever held in Cowboy Stadium. But honestly, Sting will win here, there is no doubt. Now it is time for the main event. The match that everyone will either grow to love or boo the ever-loving crap out of from the moment the entrance happens. And it's Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, we thought for months that this match would be the most predictable match in the world. With Lesnar putting Reigns over, he walks out, and WWE has a new golden boy in the process. Well, that's what we all were thinking up until Brock Lesnar fell out with Vince McMahon over contract renegotiations, and it was then put into storyline that Lesnar could leave to go back to UFC with the WWE Championship around his shoulder. Lesnar is being built to be a beast who has everything to play for. Reigns, a beast who has to prove that he has what it takes to be in the position he's currently in, with Paul Heyman waxing lyrical about both men to make this match look massive. On top of that, we also have the possibility of a Seth Rollins cash-in, making the predictability for this match all over the place. I don't know who's going to win this match, but I have to figure out who. And I look at Brock Lesnar and think to myself, he won the streak, he won the championship in the most convincing way possible, and he has to lose somewhere. So therefore, by that note, it has to be Roman Reigns. But Roman Reigns hasn't been in a match like this before. He hasn't been in a big-time match to where he's in control and having to do things to prove his worth of the company. He hasn't done that yet. So him losing would be an interesting development and allow him time to learn over time. That would be brilliant. But of course, will that happen? No, because they don't want to lose momentum on Roman Reigns. But then again, he hasn't got the connection with the crowd that WWE wants. Would they give Lesnar the victory there? Who knows? But that all depends on the contract. Will Lesnar stay or will he go? Will he end up staying as champion through to SummerSlam and then get beaten by the next big thing then? I don't know. Which is why, no matter who wins, Seth Rollins walking out as champion makes more sense. If, like I've said earlier, he loses to Randy Orton early on in the evening, he will go on and cash in to make himself look amazing. And that's great. That's great. But then I'm thinking someone has to win. Or do they? You see, a match doesn't necessarily have to end with one winning to have a cash-in make sense. Think about it. Think about this for 1 second. If Brock Lesnar hits an F5 after both of these guys have been battered, or Roman Reigns gets battered by Lesnar and he is able to batter him back, and one spear knocks both of them out, not because, of course, that Lesnar could be knocked out by a spear because of his diverculitis issues in the past, but also the fact that Roman Reigns would have been knackered and so tired that he could not cover him. In comes Rollins, gets the victory with the match still going on. Both of them have legitimate claims that, one, he didn't lose the match, so his title opportunity is still there, and of course Lesnar has his number contendership still in the bag from a rematch clause. That's all well and good. We don't need to have Roman Reigns having that eye-watering, tear-jerking moment to be snatched away from him to set this up. We don't need to have Lesnar thinking he's all confident while a curb stomp knocks him out for 6 and then Seth wins. What I'm trying to say is, I can't predict a winner of the match itself, but I can predict how it all ends. I can predict that Seth Rollins will be walking out of this match as champion. But will it be over the bodies of both men? Or will it be over one who gets the victory? I can't answer that question, which is why I'm leaving it open. Whoever wins the match is inconsequential to me. It's all about Seth. It is all about Mr. Money in the Bank, because without him, this match for me is extremely difficult and nigh on impossible to predict. So you know what? Seth is my prediction. Seth Rollins will be my prediction, and that is the end of that. There we are, guys. WrestleMania 31 predictions are done. I hope you've all enjoyed listening to me ramble on for the last 25 minutes. But, importantly, what do you guys think? How do you think WrestleMania will go down? Put your comments in the comment section. I'd be glad to read them and respond. Also, if you like what you've seen, that like button is there. Go ahead and press it. I'd appreciate it. What I'd also appreciate is if you loved listening to me and you want to see more, not just wrestling content, but all kinds of other things, then go click that subscribe button. I would appreciate it immensely. And guys, I have been Freddie Thomas. You've been people listening. This has been my WrestleMania 31 predictions, and I'll be back in a couple of days, ready for the WrestleMania review. See you guys then. Cheers!